Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Thule WingBar Evo roof rack on our 2025 Nissan Rogue. Now if you've had any experience with the Thule Evo roof rack, or if you've got some questions about it after watching this video, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. We love to take those and share them with our other neighbors in order to help them make the best decision for themselves. Now, while the Nissan Rogue does have a fair amount of cargo space in it, there are going to be times where maybe you have a car full of passengers, everybody's traveling somewhere, and you just don't have room for everybody's bags, luggage, any other items, or you have other times where you have things that either just won't fit in the vehicle or you just don't want to ride with them in the vehicle. And that's where a roof rack is going to come in really, really handy, just like this Thule WingBar system. Now, the great thing about a roof rack is that you can carry items up here rather than out of the hitch. It just leaves a smaller footprint on the car. You are going to have to worry about rooftop clearance at times, but generally speaking, it can be more practical than putting things on the hitch. Now, this Thule WingBar crossbars, they are going to have an arrow shape, and what that means is that you're going to get greater wind resistance. That's also going to reduce noise as you're driving and help out with some of your fuel mileage. You can use accessories that have a clamp-on mount or a T-track mount. The T-track is accessed right here through the end cap. It is a split piece of rubber stripping right here, this weather stripping, and that's what's really going to help keep the noise down for you while you're on the road. Now, as far as rooftop capacity, these crossbars are going to afford 165-pound rooftop capacity. However, you always want to check your owner's manual and make sure that the owner's manual says your roof can hold at least that much weight. Now, this set of crossbars is an overhang set as opposed to a flush, and what that means is the crossbar does come out past our tower. So that could be a concern for some people if they're worried about hitting their head when they come out of it. Now, the way that these overhang, you're really only getting an extra 2.5 inches on the front bar, 3.5 on the back bar. But as far as with the door threshold goes, it doesn't stick out that much. I'm not terribly concerned about hitting your head on this at all. And really having an overhang is going to help you as far as the variety of things you can hold up here. It just gives you that little bit of extra that you can maybe move one of your accessories over further and fit another accessory side by side with it. Now, Thule does give us specific placement as far as where our crossbars can go, and you'll see that in the installation if you stick around a little bit. But just to get our crossbar spread, we have a crossbar spread of about 28 3/4 inches, and that's right in a good spot. Most rooftop accessories require between 26 and 32 inches, so these are really in a good place to be. I also like their placement because I'm standing in the door threshold of the second row. That puts me right in between the crossbars, so anything I have up here should be really, really accessible. Now, the other measurements that you might be wondering about on the Rogue is just how much more clearance do I need up here on the roof. This is going to add 4.5 inches of height to your vehicle, so just bear that in mind if you're going through any low clearance areas. As far as how much room we have under the bar, we're looking at a full 3 inches, and that's plenty of room really to mount just about any accessories you want to put up here. Now, as far as how we got these on our roof, we're going to show that to you right now. So as we begin our installation, the first thing we'll want to do is kind of put our towers together here. So you're going to end up with foot pads, and there's a number on these foot pads. Now, pay attention to the instructions because each of these are different and they're going to follow a certain contour. So pay attention to that number because that is what's going to kind of determine which bar, which tower goes where. There is also a different clamp for the front bars and for the back bars. The back bars being a bit of a longer clamp than what we have on the front bars. So pay close attention to that too, because it is specific about where we put these things. So the first thing I want to do is take one of my towers and I'm going to apply the foot pad to it. Now when you're doing this, you do want to make sure that it is on there flush. That way you know it's going to be seated properly when it is up on your roof. So as I'm just kind of working my way around it, getting it all kind of depressed in. There we go. And then once I've got it completely on, I'm going to take my clamp I'm going to insert it right through this slot over the bolt head, and it should click in. All right. Now that I've got that, another important measurement that they're going to give us is exactly how far apart our towers need to be. Since we're working on the back bar, it is a different measurement than what was on the front bar. They ask for 38.5 inches from tower to tower, and Thule does provide a scale on the underside of the wing bar here that's going to let you measure that out precisely. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this to 38.5 inches. And once I have it there, I'm going to remove my end cap. And get my tower on there. Now, the way that the clamps for the tower works is you do have to depress the clamp in order to release the catches on top of the tower to get it to slide into place. We're going to move it right up to the edge of that mark that we have marked off already. And we'll be able to go from there. Now that we have our towers completely assembled, we've got our end caps back in place, we're going to go ahead and put it up on the vehicle. Now, we did install our first bar, our first crossbar, and the reason being is that Thule is going to specify where that first bar needs to be. The second bar placement is measured from the first bar. So we did put this bar on according to the measurements from the top of the windshield back. The next measurement they give us is going to be how far back this is going to be. They're going to measure that from the front of the front crossbar to the front of the second crossbar, which is what I have in my hand. So we're going to go ahead and feed it over kind of as close as we can to that measurement. So as far as where we place these bars go, as I mentioned before, we had to install this one in order to determine the placement of the second one. The measurement that Thule gives us for the Nissan Rogue is from the top of the windshield here, 14 1/8 inches to the front of this tower, and then from the front of this bar to the front of the second bar, 28 3/8 inches. Now we go ahead and got that measured out, and everything is looking really nice. The thing that we also want to double check on is that our rubber foot pads are seated properly in the contours of the roof. And once we have that determined on both sides, because we want to make sure that we take these measurements from both sides of the vehicle, that way we can absolutely guarantee that our bars are perfectly perpendicular with the roof. We're going to take our provided Thule tool. This is a torquing tool, and we're going to go through this bolt right here. We're going to just start tightening these up incrementally on each side. I don't want to completely tighten down one side out of fear that we may unseat the other. So I'm just going to go in increments, just get it snug over here first. I'll go to the other side and do the same. And I'm going to slowly go back and forth a little bit at a time, tightening up each side so that it goes down evenly. And just an added tip, one of the things you can do as you're tightening those up a little bit on each side, just to make sure it stays seated, go ahead and put some pressure over the top of it. That way these won't pop out of the grooves as you're tightening it up. But when you get it pretty snug on both sides, you are going to notice that it's just going to get tighter and tighter. You're going to hear a pop like that from your torque tool. That's going to let you know that we've got it on here tightened to spec. Everything's on here nice and solid. The last step we have in our installation is to put on our tower covers. All right, so all we really need to do is take our cover here. We've got a flathead as well. These two tabs are going to be inserted right here into these holes at the top. It'll just snap down into place, and then I'll lock them on using my flathead. Now, if you're wondering about metal lock cores for these, Thule does offer their one key system where you can purchase lock cores and keys that will match for all four towers. You could also get them keyed alike to some of your favorite Thule accessories as well. So for added security, that is something you'd have to purchase separately, but they are available right here at etrailer.com. And now we've got everything on here. It's nice and solid. Obviously you see the vehicle's moving, the bars are not. They're spaced correctly and everything is seated really nicely. So I say we're ready to load this up and hit the road. So that was a look at the Thule WingBar Roof Rack on our 2025 Nissan Rogue. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.